What if I told you that one of the strangest disappearances of the 21st century happened quietly, in a small town in Brazil? No gunshots, no break-in, no ransom demand, just a young man walking into his bedroom and never coming out. When his family opened the door, they didn't find a person. They found a message. The walls were covered in codes, thousands of symbols written by hand. Alien drawings stared back from every surface. And in the center of the room stood a life-size statue of a philosopher who was burned alive 400 years ago for claiming the universe was infinite. This is the story of Bruno Borges, the man who vanished into thin air and left behind a room of secrets no one has fully decoded. Bruno Borges was 24 years old, a psychology student, deeply into philosophy, spirituality, and consciousness theory. But he wasn't just dabbling. He was obsessed. Friends say he would disappear into books for days, lose himself in conversations about ancient knowledge, metaphysics, astral projection, and the possibility of alien contact. He talked about humanity being asleep, trapped in false beliefs, and how unlocking ancient wisdom could awaken us. He idolized Giordano Bruno, the 16th century philosopher who believed in infinite worlds, alien life, and cosmic consciousness. Giordano was burned at the stake for his ideas. And Bruno Borges? He adopted not only his ideas, but his name. It wasn't just admiration, it was identity. On March 27, 2017, Bruno was seen walking into his bedroom and locking the door. His family thought nothing of it, but hours passed, then days. He wouldn't answer his phone, wouldn't respond. The door stayed locked. Finally, his father broke it open, and Bruno was gone. Windows locked. No signs of struggle, no farewell note. But what he left behind wasn't absence. It was intention. The room had been transformed into a living cipher. 14 handmade books, each one numbered, sealed, and encrypted with symbols Bruno invented himself. The walls and floor were painted over in matching codes, formulas, and what appeared to be maps of energy fields and consciousness diagrams. And at the center of it all, a statue of Giordano Bruno, towering, lifelike, as if watching over it all. The 14 books Bruno left behind were the core of what he called the project. The writing inside, totally encrypted, using a substitution cipher where each letter was replaced by a symbol. It took codebreakers on the internet weeks to crack the basic system. Once decoded, the books revealed pages of deeply philosophical thought, personal manifestos, esoteric ramblings, and recurring references to humanity's awakening. Bruno wrote about mental evolution, the limitations of current knowledge systems, alien intelligences watching over us, the idea that death is not the end, but a misinterpreted transition. One translated passage read, "We must unlearn everything we were taught in order to access the truth buried in our DNA." Another, "We are sleepwalking toward extinction. This project will wake us up." He believed he was building a guide for human transformation and claimed that when the world was ready, they would understand it. Once photos of Bruno's room hit social media, everything changed. The internet exploded with speculation. Some believed he had staged it all, a long-form ARG designed to go viral. Others said it was the result of a psychotic break, triggered by isolation and obsession. But the most enduring theory, that Bruno Borges was attempting some kind of ritual contact, a psychological or metaphysical experiment to break the barrier between human and non-human intelligences. Reddit threads began mapping the symbols on the walls. Some matched ancient alchemical glyphs. Others mirrored crop circles. Conspiracy theorists claimed Giordano Bruno had reincarnated, and Bruno Borges was the vessel. And then, silence. 5 months after his disappearance, Bruno came back, quietly. No announcement. No interview. He claimed he had gone into isolation to work on his book, and that the secrecy was all part of the project. But things didn't add up. He refused to say where he had been. He never fully explained how he left the room, or why. And the published version of his book? It was missing most of the encrypted material found in the original notebooks. It felt incomplete, sanitized, almost like someone, or something, had told him to stop. Years later, Bruno Borges lives a mostly quiet life. He occasionally posts online, but avoids talking about the project. Many of the original codes remain undecoded. His room, once called the Alien Chapel by fans, has since been painted over, but the mystery never really ended. Was it all performance art? Or did Bruno Borges actually contact something and get pulled back just before he went too far? Some think he was trying to upload himself, his mind, his philosophy, into symbols that could last longer than memory. Others think the real Bruno Borges never came back. Maybe the answers are buried in those notebooks. Maybe they're hidden in plain sight. Or maybe the whole point was to get us asking questions. What do you think? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you love real mysteries that feel like fiction, subscribe to Brain Glitch. Because the truth? It's way weirder than you were taught.